Good evening. It is Friday, April 5th. My Second Universe Writers Update. Going to do a writing tip about the balance of a character's likable versus unlikable traits, and talking about the game session, the virtual tabletop gaming session, the campaign getting close to its second year, and how to keep players interested in their characters and in the long running campaigns, and then a little story time with a brownie and Baldr. So first, my main character Hilda for the book that I'm working on, especially in the first quarter of the book, it's a struggle to like her. It's a struggle for readers to see past all her negative qualities, and she has a lot. She's selfish and brutal and cruel, and she seems to be just a broken human being that will be a terrible mother. She has a baby growing inside her, or at least she believes that she does, and it's hard to root for her. But I think I've teased out some redeemable qualities chapter by chapter, just enough, and then she has this breaking point. I have one reviewer who's right at that borderline of giving up. I'm like, well, maybe one more chapter, and I'm hoping that the next one, the reviewer will start to turn and start to find her. She's engaging, and the story's engaging, but having trouble rooting for her. It's one of those things where the hero of the story is not. I mean, she's not exactly a bad guy, but she's not a good guy per se. So that could be a delicate balance. I think it's clear to me, at least, that I can't tease too long without having the character be overall redeemable, overall likable. I can't tease with too many negative traits and expect readers to commit to a full story, to a full novel, especially mine tend to be a little longer. So I'm still in the editing process, of course. It's only a half-written book, so I may soften her edges a little bit more, depending on the feedback that I get as the critiquer gets into the second quarter of the book. But it's something to keep in mind, that having an unlikable main character at first can be okay, as long as you tease with some redeemable qualities, but maybe don't string along the reader. Be careful not to string the reader along too long. And I think that 20% mark is about as long as you want to do it, that 20 to 25% mark for the first quarter of the book. Okay, game session. My players are wanting more. They're wanting empire building aspects to their game experience, and for one player in particular, he wants to dive deeper into his character's background, wanting to know more details of his kind of origin story, and to really explore his motivations to move forward. This character's been a part of his consciousness for quite a while now, and I think he just needs more depth. So it's an interesting thing that's coming up, that if you have players with the same character for years, they can't help it really grow attached. So I need to kind of like editing a book, go back and push for greater depth, and make sure everything lines up, and work with the players, make sure that they're happy and that the game session continues to be rewarding. And through that process, I'm sure the campaign will just get richer. And I will have plenty of content, of course, for some short stories. Speaking of short stories, I've been thinking about Baldr. Baldr is born. Now this is not an ordinary child. This boy is a bright thing, a light in the hands of a little man, a teeny, wooden seeming man, a twig for arms, a mossy head, a brownie man, a fey boy, a fey man, and he holds this little bright boy in his hands. And even though this teeny twig man, this brownie, is small, is teeny, no more than knee-high for me, for a human, I'm watching this teeny brownie hold the baby that was just born from a woman, but not an ordinary woman. No, she was a Valkyrie once, before her demigoddess was purged. Yet the magic lingered, and it was something like a curse. When the baby was born, it was like a coal coming out of a furnace, and a dwarf, fire-resistant hands, bronzing, still needing to wear gloves to keep from burning. That coal, that red-hot coal, that life, wailing, flame, but so small, no more than a finger length, but perfect proportions for a baby, for a human, but so small. And he cools quickly, but he still glows bright as a metal that had just been taken out of the forge. Orange. Could be put in a lantern. Could light the night. He glows all day. Even as he cools, he still glows. Finally, he's wrapped and handed to the brownie, the little man who's been hopping from foot to foot. He worships the mother. He worships the woman who saved the brownie, who gave him purpose. He is her servant, and she needs him now to care for the baby. People are coming, people that see the value in this glowing child, in Baldr, in what he means, in the living pantheon that he is destined to be a part of, that oracles have shouted warnings, that this fate may be thwarted if they can claim the child, if they can take this miracle, this curse, this burden from the mother who weakly raises her arm and says, "Go, take him, run before they come. I will find you. Just run. And she collapses. I was hired to help, and I watch helpless as the baby is taken, bundled up in the arms of this little teeny man, this twig man, the dwarf midwife. He stands back in shock. The awe of this miracle child has overwhelmed him, has drained his soul. There is a spiritual price, a cost in birthing a god-to-be that has drained the room of its energy. It seems only the twig man is able to move, is able to find the will. Step by step, he leaves through a hole in the wall, an escape for cats and small dogs. He leaves as others burst into the room. Knights of a crusade, crusaders, with a mind to hurt, to rend, to tear, to control. They circle the dwarf, they stab, they cut, they slice. The dwarf would have been quite a danger, would have put quite a fight, would have broken and snapped and been a monster for them under other circumstances, but he is helpless as they end his life, and they move on the woman, and they move on me. They see my servant's clothes, my drab, plain clothes, and they leave blades at my throat, but they don't stab down, and the woman, she is passed out. I wish I could follow her and sleep and awake, and this would be a dream, this miracle that I never asked for, not for 2 silvers and 5 coppers. Oh, not for 2 silvers and 5 coppers, though perhaps the story, unbelievable as it is, will win me a drink at a tavern, or win me extra food in a prison. But hopefully, most hopefully, it will win me free from the blades at my throat, if I can just speak, if I can